Welcome everyone to episode 3 of Homeschool Coffee Talk. We are recording live as usual. So if you guys want to catch us live, make sure to be on our Facebook page, Homeschool Coffee Talk. And you can join us for all of the fun bloopers and stuff that happen behind the scenes. But we are so thankful that you're joining us today. What are we talking about today, Amy?
Woo! Okay, today we were talking about self-care for moms. Yeah, so this one's all about the moms, making sure that you're taking care of you, because you have to have your cup full in order to pour into your family and your kids and your homeschool. So we thought this is a really good time of the year to talk about self-care.
Absolutely, because I'm really bad at self-care. So I'm hoping that you even have some tips for me, because it's really just carving out time that I'm not good at. I can have all these amazing tips and ideas and like things you can do for self-care, but it's making the time that's a big thing for me. So
absolutely, that is one of the biggest hurdles, is time and energy, because by the time that you go to do it, you're like so tired. You're like, I'm gonna watch 5 minutes of Netflix and then just pass out and go to bed. So
exactly. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So what to you is self-care? Because I know this is a lot like different for different people.
So true. That is so true. Like, and I think one of our first things, and we'll talk about this, like different types of self-care, but often people think of like self-care as like going out for a mani-pedi or a spa day. And while that is awesome, if that's your thing, self-care can be like so many different things. It's just how you're taking care of yourself and feeling like energized and feeling like you. Oftentimes I feel like it's like before kids in a way too, but like just feeling like you can be fully present and intentional with your time and your attention and what you're doing. So whatever that is that you need to make that happen. And it can be different amounts of time and in different places and all sorts of different stuff. So what is it for you? Like,
mine is a lot of times just sometimes staying up way later than I should just to get that time by myself is my big self-care thing, because I do still have a little guy who just turned 1. So obviously between the older ones, my almost teenager, who obviously has a completely different set of needs, and then my 9-year-old and my almost 4-year-old also have completely different sets of needs. So I'm usually pulled very different directions from all of them. And so I don't get a lot of time to myself because I'm either nursing the little one or dealing with sibling stuff going on between other ones, or all of the emotions of the oldest and all of those things. And so I'm exhausted by the end of the night, but sometimes I just need that half hour or hour where everyone, including my husband, is asleep. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, no one's touching me. No one's talking to me. Like, I just need to watch. I've been watching Downton Abbey for the 3rd time.
Love it.
3rd time through the season. I think I just started season 3 the other night. And that has been my self-care, is just to get fully immersed into these characters that don't actually exist, but in my mind they do. And to like get away from reality for a little bit, because what's happening around me isn't actually happening. What's happening at Downton is happening,
Exactly.
And I just need Downton to be my real alter reality for a little bit while I just like stop thinking about all of the things, Yeah,
it's an escape. So, I mean, as much as you love your life and what you're doing, it's a lot. So having that and then having that to look forward to can almost be a type of self-care as well, because it's like, that's coming. So it can get you through bedtime or whatever. Because it's like, okay, I have that little bit of escape, then I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, seriously. And we're getting to the point in our nursing journey where he's not falling asleep nursing Isabel anymore. So my husband has been having to take over bedtime a little bit, which has been phenomenal, because if I'm trying to get him to sleep, he won't go to sleep. And so last night, I think it was about like 9:30, and I was like, I just want a huge bowl of ice cream right now. And I can't even eat my bowl of ice cream I've been looking forward to all day. And so he was just like, let me take him. He got him down in like 3 minutes. And I was like, what? Like, how did you do that so fast? And then he kind of brought up to me, like, I think you guys are just at the stage where that's not going to calm him anymore. But of course, when he's with me, they're right there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like easy access, where when he has them, it's like, oh, I don't have to be like trying to get anything. So it's just been kind of nice now that we've recognized that, because I'm like, oh, good. Guess who gets to do bedtime from now on?
Yeah. And then there's a little bit more time for you. So that's nice.
Seriously.
And I think that's another thing, like with self-care, that you're as a mom, you're in different like ages and stages. And so it can be hard, like when you feel stuck at a certain stage, you're just like, oh my gosh. But then it can also be hard, like when you're transitioning from maybe like baby to toddler, because a baby you can hold so much, you know, or and put in a carrier. And then when they're toddler and you're just running around all over the place, like what do you do then? Like, because that what you used to do for self-care might have to look a lot different than you know, that stage right there. So yeah, I just remember, and it is kind of nice when you have older ones as well. Like when you have just the little ones, like it is on you. So that can be very difficult. Like, so even like 1 or 2 minutes of something that's just your own can feel so amazing. Like going to the bathroom without anybody else. Like, I mean, I know that sounds, I just remember feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm in the bathroom by myself now. Or getting a shower without like the little finger sticking under the door, you know, like mom, 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 mom. So like just talking to like your significant other or like a friend that gets it or family member to give you a break is okay. Like asking for help is huge when you're in those stages. But I remember at one point when we just started homeschooling and I had 2 or 3 older ones, a toddler, and newborn. And I remember like with my oldest, because he was like 13, I think. And I'm like, here, please. And I would just go out onto our deck and just breathe in fresh air in like for like 1 minute. And that I just needed that. Like nobody touching me, nobody looking at me. You know?
And don't you wonder looking back how you did it with your older ones? Because like I don't know how I did it without Big Kid helpers. I look back and I'm like, how did I do this without having a big kid to take him for that minute and be like, mom needs a like sanity check. Please take him while I go to the bathroom, or I go stand outside, or I just need to take a sip of my coffee, you know, whatever it is. Because I don't remember what I did.
Well, I was lucky that we had a neighbor, well, we do, but she was high school, like 15, and she'd be a mommy's helper. So she would come over, I was here, and she would stay, I guess my second one was about, you know, like just walking, and then my oldest was about 2 or 3. I can't remember anymore. And I could just like be in a room by myself and like declutter a closet. Like these are the things, like that's like what I mean, like different types of self-care for me. Sometimes cleaning or decluttering makes me feel better. So that's what I would do. Or sometimes I would just sit in a room and read a book or take a little nap or whatever I needed that day. But like she would come like once a week and I'd be like, when is it Wednesday afternoon? Like after school, you know, but that was so helpful for me, like so helpful.
Yeah, that's really amazing to do. And it's something I've struggled being able to do, is because we do move so often, being a military family, that sometimes I may have a really good support network, but then they leave or I leave and we just start all over again. And so that we are like super overdue on having a date night, which I know a lot of people are like, you need to make that a priority and have your spouse be your priority and pencil in these date nights. And I'm like, I would love to do that. But there's like 1 of 2 people that my little one would actually go to. And then that's going to change as soon as they move or as soon as we move. And so it's not been something that's been doable for us. So we make sure on Sunday nights, we sit down together and we watch YouTube together, and we watch different RV people on YouTube. And that is like kind of like our date time. And that's what we've had to make work, because we can't go out. We can't leave the kids because the little one's just a little bit too little for my oldest to watch. We've got like one more year. After like one more year, we can finally be like, goodbye, all of you children. We are going out and doing something. But that's the way we've made that date time work, is we are just watching our camper people on YouTube, is what we call them. And make sure every Sunday night that we have nothing else going on. Now, sometimes I might be holding a sleeping baby. Sometimes, you know, we have other stuff going on, but we've made sure to carve that time out, which for me is a big time. I know a lot of us like to plan and whatnot on Sunday nights. So I've had to really shift that and make sure that's not a part of my schedule on Sunday evenings anymore, that I have to have that open for him in the way to take care of our relationship. And that's as simple as it is we're sitting down watching YouTube together for like an hour, you know? So it doesn't have to be getting dolled up and going out to this expensive restaurant or movie. Like, it is literally free for us to do, you know?
Exactly.
So,
and especially like if you don't have family in the area that can help out either. So like I know we had to do that too. Like we had to modify it. Like we would just sometimes get out board games, like, you know, like Scrabble or trivia, something that like the kids couldn't play, and do something like that, even like just have, like game and snacks and like whatever, like, you know, like just adult time, that like adult interaction, because that's what I would really crave. We live out in the country. Our neighbors all work and stuff. And so like I was having very limited adult interaction when the boys were very little. And it was like, oh my gosh, I just need to talk to another adult, like face to face, you know, not on the phone. And so, yeah, we would do like game night, or, you know, or just watching TV too, you know, like just chilling.
Yeah. My poor friends who get my word vomit when I see them, like the 1 or 2 times a week, I actually see someone and then I'm like, blah, 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 and then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You really didn't want to hear any of that.
Yeah. But hey,
if your friends don't mind if you word vomit on them, they actually appreciate it, guys.
True friends.
It's okay. At least I don't think they mind. They've never told me they mind.
Oh man. Yeah, so it's so self-care, I mean, like, so we, you know, there's just different types of self-care. And like for me, now my kids are older, so they're 18, 16, 12, 10, and 7. Okay, yeah. I have to remind myself anymore. So I feel like I have in some ways a little bit more time, although I'm like chauffeuring people, you know, when my oldest can't help out driving like all over the place. But so like I've been picking up going running or walking or working out, because I need that to help me feel better and healthier and stronger. And it like clears my mind. I'm in such a better mood. But I didn't always have that. But that's like the stage I'm in right now, that I can do that. But like I remember when I had like the little ones, I would like put on a YouTube video or whatever and do like those walking videos. I don't know if you ever saw those. They're so funny, because you're like just walking in your room and you're like, oh my gosh, I was just like such a dork right now. But like I am the type of person, because like I was an athlete, I played soccer, I ran track. I need my body to be moving, or I am like no good to anybody. But not everybody's like that, you know. But that energizes me, that like restores me, I guess. More so than like, I'm not a mani-pedi person. Like I'll give myself like, you know, DIY, but like I am not this, like I'm not very girly. So I don't go out and do that type of thing. But or even like going out for a coffee, like going to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, and like getting a special little coffee. That can feel like amazing.
It really can. And that's another kind of self-care for me, is I do try to limit myself, because my goodness, especially, so when we moved here in March, we are 3 minutes from Starbucks. I think 4 minutes from Dunkin' Donuts, where before we did have a Dunkin' Donuts about 10 minutes away, but the closest Starbucks was like over a half hour away. We were really kind of tucked back away from stuff at our last
That's how
house.
we are.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna be so much trouble. Like the Chick-fil-A is 2 minutes down the road. And so I've really limited myself to once or twice a week, depending on the kind of week I've had. Have I gotten 0 sleep this week? I'm going to have a second one to treat myself and probably to quite literally wake myself up on a day where I'm having a hard time at like 3:00 in the afternoon. But a lot of times it is where I'm just like, you know what, I'm doing grocery pickup or whatever it is. I'm driving by there anyways. I'm going to go get that for myself just because I need that pick me up, and not even because I'm tired necessarily, but just because coffee makes me happy. I'm not, like I don't need it. I have gone an hour or more in the mornings before getting it before, but I look forward to it. I love coffee, which is a big reason why we have Homeschool Coffee Talk, right? We love coffee. Yep. It brings me joy. And so I enjoy going and getting my Dunkin' Donuts coffee or my Starbucks. And it does. Whenever I take that first sip, I'm just happy.
I hear you.
So it can be little stuff like that. Even when you have all of the kids in tow and you're like, no, you're not getting a donut or a cake pop. We are here for mom. Mom's getting a coffee. And so every now and again, I'll treat them to that stuff.
Yeah.
But most of the time I'm like, no, we are just here for coffee. Heads up. I'm not taking orders. And then my kids are like, okay,
Yeah,
so
I get it.
They do. They really do. And so I've not heard maybe the 3-year-old, because it's hard for her, at 3 years old, but the older boys are totally understanding of it because they are just like, oh, mom just wants her coffee. Like, no big deal,
Right.
So, and so it's kind of a nice lesson to teach them too, that sometimes we just treat ourselves as parents, and they know mom's chocolate stash also only belongs to mom and that she rarely shares it because this is my treat. You guys have cookies and crackers and popsicles and all this other stuff that I don't touch. This is mine. And so they know not to get into mom's chocolate stash.
And I think it's really important to show our kids that like we're taking time to take care of ourselves, and like that we need this to feel, and they see it and they experience it, like whether we verbalize that or not, like they know we're such a better mom when we do these things. Like my older boys are like, I'm so glad you started running again, mom, because like you were so much happier. And like I'm gonna go to the trails, and I'll be like, bye, because it's like they know I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be like, hey guys, what's up? So like, they know it, and it's just like a really good role model that like for how they can take care of themselves as well as they get older,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But like you brought up I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to, nothing important.
You made like a good point though. Like sometimes you have the kids in tow, and sometimes like when they're little, you don't have any time to yourself. And sometimes that's when we think self-care, it means we have to have time all by ourselves. And that's just not always the case. So like when they were younger and I put on those walking videos or exercise, like they would do them with me and it would be hysterical. And like we would just have fun, or like we would just throw on music and have a massive dance party, and like little stuff like that, and they think it's fun and I'm having fun and felt better. Like it might not have been exactly what I wanted to do at the time, but it worked. And there's lots of things you can do like that, like going outside when the weather's cooperating usually, and then and going on a little walk with them if you can, or just sitting there and like looking at the birds or something, that can be a form of self-care too, like
it really can.
Like no educational pressure, like we're not looking at the scientific name, like just enjoying it, like that is huge.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of times we do have so much pressure to make that kind of thing, to be like, oh, we need to record that we did that today. Where it's like, no, just enjoy it. Like, yes, does it count as school? Absolutely. Does it need to be turned into a lesson? No, it doesn't, because you can just enjoy these moments without it being an actual lesson. My friend actually brought that up, that she wants her grandmother to just sit and watch the birds with her daughter.
Aww.
And that her grandma was like, ooh, I'm like, I can't do lessons anymore. Like, I'm too old for that, whatever. And she's like, no. Like, I literally just want you to bird watch with her and share your love of this with her, you know? And that was just, she's going to get education from it. And yes, it's counting as her school time, but she just wants her to share that passion with her daughter so that she can just learn from someone who loves it, because it's just going to be an enjoyable opportunity for them. And I just thought that was really beautiful that she wants that for her daughter, to get someone from a completely different generation as well, and just their insight for something they've loved for so long. And that we don't need lesson plans. I just want you to sit with her and look at birds.
Like sometimes sometimes I'm just like, I need to get creative, and I am not creative. Like, I am not an artist really at all. But sometimes I'm like, I just want to get paints or markers or whatever. And like, that's when we made like back here, but they're fun. And like, that's why I have them on the wall, because it just reminds me of like, just totally chilling with the boys and like slapping around some paint and having fun. And so they were with me, but it was like really beneficial for me as well. And I felt creative, even though, oh my good night, but like, you know, so like stuff like that too can be just fun, like the watercolor paints, whatever. Play-Doh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Play-Doh's like, I know not everybody likes Play-Doh, but Play-Doh is like one of my favorites. And I will sit there and play with Play-Doh beyond even when my boys like get up and walk away from the table. Cause I'm like, oh, I think it's like a sensory thing or something, but like that's self-care for me. That might be weird, but
well, and it's important to recognize what is self-care for you too. And I know sometimes for me, self-care is just flat out saying no to stuff. Because it is so hard. And it's something the past 2 years or so I've gotten really good at. And I've even had friends be like, wow, I wish I could say no as well as you, because I'm just, you don't have to have a why. Just if you're overwhelmed, and you know, if it's even like, you know, going to activities that you're supposed to go to the beach with your friends or meet them at the park or do this or do that, and you are just having a week, we can't make it. Sorry.
Yep.
Like, that is a complete response. You don't have to say, because I have these million things going on and the kids' behaviors and blah, 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 blah. Like, no, I can't do this. Or even sometimes I have to do it to my kids too. Can you do this? No, I just can't. I can't right now, you know, and just being okay to say no, because we don't have to do all of things, that it's okay. Even if it's just to whatever chore needs to get done at your house, to say, this just isn't, I'm not folding laundry today. It's going to stay there, and it needs to just be okay that it's staying there. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And so that's a big one for me, is just learning when to say no and just making that no a complete sentence.
Yes.
And I know that saved myself so much grief from learning that, and really have learned to take care of myself just by saying no.
Yeah. I mean, because we feel guilty. You know, like our society, like women are just trained to like, yes. And that's not always healthy. And I know that like now that my boys are getting older and involved in more activities, like the volunteer requests or donation requests, no, like just no, that I cannot do it. And it's hard because like I have this natural tendency to feel bad or guilty. And I'm like, why am I feeling, you know, like I just cannot do it for whatever reason. And so, and it's okay. And that is definitely probably one of the biggest forms of self-care, I think.
Absolutely. And that's something that I think, like at church and different activities and stuff, that people assume with us being homeschoolers that I must be really good with kids.
Ding, 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 ding.
Do not ask me to volunteer in the nursery ever. That is not where my love language is. That is not where my spiritual gifts are, or any of that. If you want me to lead a women's conference, I'll lead it all day long because I will talk to the moms and I will do whatever I need to with women's ministry. But if you ask me to do anything with children's ministry, no. Just because I have my kids at home does not mean that I necessarily am good with kids.
And I'm the opposite. Like, I would love to be with the kids and doing all that fun, but I'm with my 5 boys 24/7. So I don't need to be doing it. Like, I used to be a soccer coach. I used to do that. I had to say no more because I was burning out, and then I didn't have it to give to them. And then what good am I? So yeah, absolutely. It's hard, but it's something you have to practice too, I think. But once you do it, it's so empowering. You're like, oh yeah.
And like, it's like I said, it comes easy for me now. Not that I'm saying no to all of these things. I say plenty of things, probably still too many things, but I've learned to not feel bad, to not take on some of these roles, and just to say no and not feel bad and say, sorry, someone else has to do this one. It's not for me. So.
Well, so one thing we were chatting about a little bit before we got on here live was that, like, how to make time for self-care, because as moms, it's so hard. And like, you know, we often are trying to do things in the margins. I mean, like all the time. But you mentioned something like you you write in like Sundays or with your husband, you know? And so like, that's what I have to do. Like, I'm looking at my planner right now. So I have like a little happy planner, horrible handwriting, but hey, it works. And I write down here, like this bottom row is for me. So like, when I'm going to walk, when I'm going to run, when I'm going to do this. And that's like my self-care row in my planner, and not every day. Well, you know, and sometimes it doesn't happen. And then I have to be okay with that because it's just life. But that I had the intention to do it. And I have to feel good about that. But like
that word right there, intention, is so important.
Yeah. And then when you can follow through, because you can set an intention every single day and never do it, but like following through with it. And then like, I have to like reflect too, like, oh my gosh, like, cause like running is not necessarily enjoyable for, you know, like it's hard, but like when I finish a run, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better, like positive reinforcement, so that for next time I'm going to do it again. Or, you know, like just, like getting out the paints, and like how I have this hanging here, like they give me a reminder of, that was so much fun. That was so good for me. I know I need to do that in my life. So I'm a paper planner gal. Like I have to write the things down, but I know a lot of people, like it's the phone. It's like, it's reminders on your phone, you know, like, okay. Setting that reminder, getting a little alarm, whatever. Or just like, or I have an iPhone. So, but like I have the, what is that? The Notes app. And so like you can just put in there like a bullet list of different things that you want to try or things to do. So that if you're like sitting there like, yeah, I really need to do something, like, I mean, I've done that before where it's like, I know I need to do something for myself, but I'm not even really sure what I need right now because I'm either so tired or hungry or whatever. And just like,
I have everything in my phone for that kind of stuff. I do. So I prefer a paper planner, but having little ones, that's not really doable because I always compare my 1-year-old to a dog because he quite literally eats paper that we're working on. So I've had to put my paper planner up. And so I have the notes where I have my to-do list and stuff in the notes, but then I have specific reminders on my calendar, and I have it color coded so that I know this color is an email that has to go out. This color is family stuff. This color is work stuff. This color is just other, like any type of like self-care stuff I would put into kind of the other category. And so I have it kind of in that system because I always have my phone on me. My son can attempt to eat my phone, but doesn't get very far. And so I know that like nothing's going to really happen to it. And that way, when I'm out too, I can just put in whatever I need and not have to worry about not having my paper planner right there for me. But I can't wait until I can have my paper planner again.
It's nice. It's just like, Yeah, that's like
crying going on over at my house. So, so it might be time for us to wrap up.
alrighty.
Happening.
I got you. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us.
Now.
And we have some things on our blogs as well. We're going to put the links to that here and on the podcast site and on YouTube.
Yes.
So Christine has some self-care ideas for moms and a free printable, and I have some different ways, some different ideas for self-care as well, and some brain breaks for moms. I love that. And that's a free printable. So yeah.
So we'll have that for you guys. So we don't know when exactly we're doing our next live because soccer is in full swing over there. And we are actually going to start traveling for the entire month of September. And so we are going to have signal sometimes and not have signal other times. So I'm going to get with Amy to actually nail in an actual date so that we will at least meet with you guys once in September to go over why it's okay to not be perfect as a homeschool mom, which I feel like is the perfect follow-up to this topic.
Yes, absolutely.
So we will let you guys know on the Facebook page exactly when we will be meeting in September, so you guys can join us live, or of course the recap on YouTube or all of the podcast places. So yeah, so bear with us as we have life happen in September because we want to meet with you guys as much as we can, but this is just a busy season. So, but then we'll be going back full force in October so that we will be hopefully every single week in October meeting with you guys again.
Yes, definitely. I think that's it, right?
Cool. All right. Well, we will see you guys sometime in September then.
Yeah. And let us know if you have any topics or ideas that you'd like us to chat about or share. We would love to add that to our list. I mean, we've got it going, but we want to make sure that we are here for you. So thanks so much for joining us. We were so excited to hang out with you.
Cool. See you guys next time.
All right. Bye.